Homemaking and being pregnant with number five with little kiddos running around is challenging. And some days I don't even want to get up and spend time in my kitchen. And to be honest, some days I don't. But there are days that I need to set aside when I'm feeling a little boost of energy to get things prepped in my kitchen so I can slow down and take those off days that I need. So join me today as I prep some things in my kitchen and, of course, some biblical encouragement along the way. I have had an aversion to coffee from the moment I found out I was pregnant. And thankfully, now that I am in my second trimester, that is going away. It tends to happen with all of my pregnancies, but I am just glad to be able to enjoy a cup of coffee. So I'm going to start my morning off nice and slow and digging into the Word of God and just trying to drink some coffee before actually getting started in the day. To be a little vulnerable, this pregnancy has been the hardest pregnancy that I've had, and I have had to really slow down. Mentally, I want to get things done, but physically, I just am unable to, and that has been a challenge, and it's made me stop and think how I'm prioritizing my homemaking, because lots of times when I'm not able to do it, then my whole attitude changes, and then I become grumpy and not a great mom and not a great wife. And reality is, even if I'm not able to accomplish all of the tasks that I need to do for the day, how am I carrying myself and how is my attitude? That is going to reflect the love of Christ more than being able to accomplish a task. And this is something that I have to remind myself every single day, every single hour of the day, because it is so easy to forget when our flesh tries to take over and tell us we're not accomplishing anything because you're too exhausted to do it. But that is not the case. And if you're struggling with that, just know that I also struggle with it. But through God alone, we are able to overcome it. I haven't made marshmallows for quite some time, and my kiddos and myself have been requesting them because it's such an easy, simple snack to just be able to grab, and it fills you up quite a bit. And it's just good to have it on hand. So right now I'm gonna get started with some marshmallows. I have the maple syrup boiling on the stove, and don't walk away, because when I walked away several times, it would start to almost overflow the top because it would just almost boil over. So make sure you stay by it and try not to multitask like I was doing. I wanted to get this my KitchenAid bowl washed out, so I was able to make the marshmallows in it. And you're kind of on a time crunch here when you're making marshmallows, so I probably should have washed it before starting, but things happen. So I'm gonna get this washed and get it started. But while we're getting that bowl washed, it's the perfect time to talk about today's sponsor of this video, Natural Shilajit. I've been talking about this Nutra Honey for several months now, and it is a favorite in my family. Shilajit has over 84 minerals and has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. It improves your hormones, can boost fertility, and boost your energy, which in this pregnancy I for sure need. Now, definitely consult with a doctor before taking this when you're pregnant, but my midwife said it is fine because it is just replacing the minerals that so many pregnant women, all of us pregnant women actually, lose during pregnancy. So we are wanting to replenish those minerals, and Shilajit does just that. The thing I love most about the Nutra Honey is not only am I getting the benefits of Shilajit, I'm also getting the benefits of the raw honey. And the Nutra Honey is perfect for those that are brand new to Shilajit and kind of don't know really what to expect. This just tastes more like honey with just a little bit of the Shilajit taste. Natural Shilajit is giving away another Nutri Honey. All you have to do is comment down below on this video and that'll enter you in to win. Make sure you check on this video and the previous video to see who the winners were, and if you are, please email me so you can get your free Nutri Honey. Not only that, they're offering 10% off of all orders for my subscribers. Use the code SimplyLivingMama for 10% off of your order. Thank you, Natural Shilajit, for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Making homemade marshmallows is very easy. All you need is 2 ingredients, well 4 if you want to count the water and vanilla extract, but all you need is honey or maple syrup, and as you can see I used both because I ran out of maple syrup, and then you're going to need gelatin as well. So you're going to get the gelatin poured into the mixing bowl, and then you're going to add water on top of that to get it bloomed, so just let it sit for a while the maple syrup is boiling. You're going to want the maple syrup to be kind of a candy consistency. I don't use a thermometer or anything for that. I just kind of eyeball it, and when it's sticking to the back of my spatula or spoon and when I put my finger on it, it leaves like a thick mark, then I know that it's time to use. And as you can see, the gelatin is formed up here. I added a little bit more here because I wanted them to be extra firm. And now I'm just adding some of the hot maple syrup to break up that gelatin, because you don't want a piece of gelatin when you're biting into this marshmallow. So now you're just going to go ahead and pour the remaining of the maple syrup into your mixer and get that mixing almost as soon as possible. I have it on medium to high, and you'll see the different stages it's going to go through. I'll show you here in a minute. And you're going to want it to be all the way white and holding form, and that'll mean that it is time for you to pour your marshmallow mixture into a container. I like to use like a 9x13 dish or an 8x8 dish lined with parchment paper, just so it's easy to get out. During this season of pregnancy and being exhausted with 4 other children that need my attention and a whole other mix and mess of stressful things that have been going on that are good, but I can't talk about right now. Hopefully I'll be able to share about in a month or so. Anyways, it can just feel draining, and during these times, I have to give myself more grace because, like I said at the beginning of this video, this one has been a lot harder on me physically and even mentally. And I just want to still do it all and move at the pace that I need to move, but I'm not able to. And I have to slow down, and I have to take breaks, and I have to not get everything done. And I have to give myself grace and remember where my help comes from. And our help comes from the Lord. And you'll find me throughout my day just calling out to the Lord, like, Lord, I'm so tired. Jesus, please help me. Like, give me strength. Give me energy to get through this day, through this moment. God, please. And it's become such a thing here at this house to just speak that out loud, because It's true. Like, I cannot do this alone, and I have to depend on the Lord for the strength and for the energy and for the grace because it can be so easy to just beat myself up about that. And it's not going to do me any good because it's not going to fix anything. It's just going to make my mood not great. I go back to the verses Matthew 11:28 through 30 that says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Isaiah 40:29 through 31. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary, and they will walk and not be faint. And Psalms 73:26. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Psalms 18:31 through 32. For who is God besides the Lord? And who is the rock except our God? It is God who arms me with strength and keeps my way secure. Now, I encourage you to go and read the full context of all of those scriptures because there's definitely not talking about a pregnant mom, pregnant homemaker, but it is still an encouragement. And reading the full context is going to encourage you even more. It is now dinner time in my house, and I took a pause on some of the prep work, and I'm just doing a light, easy dinner tonight. I am using a jar of pasta sauce, boxed pasta, and I'm just gonna add some ground beef into that and call it a evening because I still have a lot left to do. We still need to make some blueberry bagels, so let's get this dinner served and get to the bagels. So I'm using a non-fresh milled recipe and just gonna try to wing it. I'm gonna use fresh milled flour though. Even though the recipe calls for all-purpose flour, I'm gonna use half hard white wheat and half spelt. I'm gonna add in the blueberries that I've cooked down to get the juices out of them and get that stirred up. I'm using just instant yeast in this because I wanted them quickly. It was late. I was getting even more tired. I wanted to go to bed, but we just need to get these bagels finished. It's been a few hours and the marshmallows have had time to set up in the refrigerator, so I am just cutting them and sprinkling some arrowroot powder on top. There are also a few where I put some cacao powder on there as well to give it more of a chocolate flavor, but this helps them from sticking together and also just makes it easier to cut. This is something that you don't have to add, but I just like to add it because it makes it easier to store, and this way it's not going to be sticking to my children's fingers while they're trying to eat it. Now, this is a big jar. I did make a double batch, but between myself, my husband, and our 4 kiddos, this is not going to last for very long, probably about a day and a half, and then I'm going to be making more. This weekend, we plan to go and have some s'mores, and it's gonna be fun. We're gonna spend time with family and have some s'mores. So I'm gonna have to make another batch for s'mores, but thankfully it's easy and simple to be able to whip up another batch. Perfect timing, our dough has risen and it is now time to whip up our blueberry bagels. I wish I would have had some dried blueberries to add into this because at the end it didn't really have the best blueberry flavor. It was kind of just like a regular bagel, to be honest. Next time, I'm gonna add a little bit more sugar or honey and add some dried blueberries, and I pray that it gives me that blueberry bagel taste that I have been craving. So I am just gonna cut these into sort of similar sizes. I'm not gonna weigh it or anything. If you wanted them to be the same size, then go ahead and weigh out each dough. But like I said, I'm just trying to get this done quickly. I want to go to bed. I'm tired. I want to get this prepped so I don't have to spend as much time in the kitchen tomorrow. So I'm just going to eye it. I then am going to take the dough and roll it and then form it into a kind of bagel shape. You're just going to take 2 fingers and push them through the donut or the circle, and it's going to make the bagel. I also get really bad pregnancy brain with words, so I could just edit out my mishaps, but you know what? I'm just going to leave them and show you some real life. Also, I run into things. If you've noticed the bruise on my arm, I slammed into our back door going in and out of it the other day, and it sure hurt, and it definitely left a bruise. So after the bagels had time to sit up for about 20 minutes, it's now time to add them into a nice bubbly bath with some honey. Sometimes I add baking soda as well. I think next time I will. I didn't this time, I just added some honey. And I'm gonna boil them for 2 minutes, 1 minute on each side. And then you're gonna put them back on the pan and have a yummy bagel. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. My name is Destiny. If you're new here, I would love it if you hit the subscribe. Comment down below where you're tuning in from. I will catch you guys on the next one, but in the meantime, check this video out. I think you'll love it.